Oh, how you doing, Ashley?
Pretty good about yourself.
We are very good. We did a podcast earlier with your Rogue Bunny's boss, so it's a good night for us. We got to talk to Victoria and now yourself. So
You guys busy today?
yeah, yep,
Yep.
yep,
We're okay with that.
yep.
That's
The
great. That's great to
best
hear.
kind of busy.
Amen.
So
So,
welcome back. Ask Ashley, episode 6.
Wowzer.
And tonight we're gonna go over the glossary of slang words that we hear when referencing weed,
And some we haven't heard.
and some
but
we haven't heard. So
amazing, all of them out there.
yeah, some of them I've heard a few that have come out of the woodwork, and some I hear every day. So I guess it depends on what circle of people you're in.
right. So before we go any further, what do you call it? What is your word of choice for flower?
Probably weed.
Weed?
Just weird. Does it matter the people you're with? That maybe some.
When I'm at the dispensary, I try to use more of like the anatomical is not the correct term. The more logistical term, I guess, would be cannabis, just for professionalism. But I mean, I've heard herb, I've heard corn, I've heard grass, I've heard pot, I've heard it depends with the type of people that come in. If it's older, they're like, I want some pot. If they're younger, they're like, I'm looking for the herb, or I'm looking for the fire, or I really want the dank. Yeah, it does. Sometimes it does depend on the person.
It's funny that you say that about the old people that come in, because I don't know, on the list it said for pot, it said out of the Urban Dictionary, it's old person definition for marijuana.
Yes, I'm a walking dictionary. No.
Well, you said that about the older, and I'm like, well, how cute is it when older people come in and are naive, but they keep talking like out of their older mouth, like start saying these slang words.
Oh yeah. And they're like, oh, the last time I had it was in pot brownies. I'm like, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That makes me think of the that 70s shows episode where the parents eat all the pot brownies and
Yeah.
they sit in their little weed circle and they're just giggling. So
it's a great show.
It is. And we want to do that sometime.
We do. Yeah. We do.
Like have a bunch of people and move the camera. We got to think of how to.
Yeah, we got to find some local weed smoking friends to do the weed circle camera thing with. So
to be continued. We'll figure it out.
we will get one. Yeah. So where do we start? I kind of went through the slang for like weed itself, and kind of wrote down kind of a timeline of them, of where the words kind of evolved from where they kind of started and where they are now.
Let's hear it.
And the first one I found was this daga or daga, and apparently this from the 1600s was used in South Africa or something like that.
Interesting.
So like that's one I've never heard.
I've never heard of that either.
I haven't either.
Yeah. The next one was
so it didn't last very long.
It didn't last very long, or maybe it is over in South Africa. Maybe they still use that term.
Yeah, they could.
I wonder if we go there and we use the word, maybe they'll know what we're talking about.
Right. And maybe this may be very beneficial that we just mentioned that, because if you ever find yourself there. The next one in chronological order was ganja, which is still obviously very popular. And I found a couple different where they said where it came from. And one of them said it was like a Sanskrit word. And then the other one was talked about these indica strains that grow on the Ganges River in India. And when it came to the States, it went from Ganges to ganja. So I don't know.
I mean, it could be somebody making up their own word, like their own slang with it, where they find it, in their case on the riverbank. So that would make sense.
Right.
I like the term.
I've always liked ganja.
Ganja's a good one.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun to say.
And it's like it's big. Isn't that the big Jamaican word?
No, but see, I instantly think about Bob when I hear that word. So
yeah.
And he references it a lot. So
yeah. Oh, this was my favorite. Then in the 1920s they called it muggles, apparently.
Like
And
Harry Potter?
I guess. Is that what they're called in Harry Potter, the muggles?
So in Harry Potter, the Muggles are they're the non-magicals, the normal people.
Oh, all right.
I've never seen the show, so or the
What
movie.
the movie?
We've never watched Harry Potter.
I tried. I fell asleep.
Oh, I was gonna say get stoned and watch it. It's great. It's great.
It's great.
I mean,
So I watched we watched Cocaine Bear last night,
ooh,
and
okay.
it's the best worst movie you'll ever see. It's so bad, but it's
so
good.
bad.
But I wasn't high when I was watching it, and I really wished I had been, because it was laugh out loud, giggle, even without being high. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
but it is terrible.
It is a good, yeah, but it's worth a good laugh.
It is.
I'm sure. I guess I have to watch that. I keep seeing it on like advertisements, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
So whatever you think, it's double. It's outrageous.
So,
Shit.
and they called people who used marijuana in the 20s muggleheads. So,
Okay.
yeah. So my lady and I have decided that's what we're going with from here on out. We like the muggles.
Okay.
And then really, you're just talking about Harry Potter.
They might.
Yeah. See, you could use it in the kids settings. No one would know.
Right? The kids would be like, I want some of that. Like in the movie Grown Ups, where
Yeah.
she's like, I want to get wasted.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
chocolate
yeah.
wasted.
I want to get chocolate wasted.
Yeah, and I want some of your muggles.
No.
No. Good luck with that. But yeah.
Yeah. Then in the 30s and 40s, they called it jive. And then that just switched over to jive talking and jive turkey and that jive this and jive that.
That
Apparently-
makes sense.
It was just called jive.
I think that one and reefer, I've heard, are very coinciding in this, almost in the same time period,
Yep.
because it came out with that movie. Reefer.
Wait for
Reefer
it. Take a look.
Yes.
Yep.
I remember
1936.
watching that for educational purposes.
Well, it's so
Yeah.
funny. They brought it out as to scare people,
Like
but
propaganda.
everybody just loved it and said, "No, I want to do that."
Yeah.
And it backfired.
Yeah, well, because they thought, I mean, there's the whole like, it's gonna bring on violence, it's gonna cause murder, it's only brought in by certain people,
Right.
and you get the whole racist and stereotyping it.
Yeah, the back is the best. It's with just a little toke, average teenagers become addicts, turning into psycho killers and brazen hussies.
I roll my eyes. I have done none of that.
Well, I don't know that a lot have.
Psycho
Yeah.
killers and brazen hussies.
Yeah. Perfect.
It's great. So yeah, actually, that was next on my list too. Is reefer kit, which
See?
was right around the same time in this movie, obviously. So, and the movie was from 1936.
That's
So-
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently the word pot started being used roughly around the same time as reefer and jive.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow, so pot is a really old term.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't remember if there was an origin I don't think there was for why it was ever. Oh, wait. No, there is. Word came into American language in the late 1930s. It was a shortening of the Spanish word. I'm not even going to try. Shortening of a Spanish word.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
wasn't there's another Spanish word that I actually heard more recently than pot was, well, pot was obviously there, but it was also a Spanish term. I think it was called mota.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that on here too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I mean, they also have their own, their own terms for it. I mean, every culture has their own. I mean,
Right.
Hawaiians would call it takalolo. So
Yeah, I saw that. I got that on the list. I was waiting for you to say. I wasn't going to try and say that either. But
Pakalolo.
that's pretty. I mean, that sounds like it's spelled. So there's no
Yeah, no, yeah, can't really screw it up, but
Uh,
yeah, that's like more of like the Hawaiian culture for that word. But
Is it a word you hear used often in Hawaii?
yes,
Okay, that's cool.
hmm
That's cool.
yeah,
Nice.
it's nice. It's nice to be defined that way, but also you hear other terms too. I think corn was the first time I heard was here as well.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah,
that
that
is
one I've never
modern.
heard.
I think
Corn.
maybe because of the shape of the. I don't know. I've never really liked the term. It just sounds weird to me.
Yeah. Well, and it's not on any of these lists either. So that's
Yeah,
a
so
new
I
one.
think that's like slang upon slang.
Sure.
So somebody's getting real lazy.
Well, right. I mean, it's like when you talk about language and dialects, and you speak Spanish over here as compared to even in these states, you speak English in the South as compared to
Yeah.
the Midwest. It's it sounds like a different thing. So
Right.
I suppose that's kind of the same way. They come up with their own words in their own places.
And their own stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the 50s along came the awesome term wacky tobacco. That's always a good one. I remember my parents talking about wacky tobacco.
Well, that was just fun.
Yeah.
I think that one and the devil's lettuce
Yeah. Yeah.
came out in that same time too. The
Yeah.
devil's lettuce I like.
Okay. Okay. Gives it a little kick to it. Devils. Yeah.
Well, I think it was another one of those. Go ahead.
That's like a propaganda. That's like a propaganda slang.
Right.
Or
Yeah, I think it was another.
devil's lettuce.
Yep,
I could
another
just
one of those that
see
they
it
used to try and
when you
Try and-
find it. Yeah.
and it backfired.
Yeah.
When are they going to learn? Just all this stuff. This just backfires. They just embrace it.
Exactly. You can't tear us down.
You're not going to talk stoners into not getting stoned. There's nothing you can say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
It's
and
like
I do
reverse
remember
psychology.
in grade school, I remember I've seen a movie where somebody took one hit and then went to the top of the building and then thought they could fly and jumped off. And it did scare me for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
Till you were like 52.
That was 55. And then I was like, okay.
Okay, that's Raylan Nelson holding a joint. I'm in.
I'm okay. I'm in a van. I can't get too hurt. Yeah. No, but I do remember that.
I mean, that stuff definitely had to be laced with something.
It was back to that, they're just,
Yep.
one hit and look at how it does. You can think you can fly. It was just trying to scare you. And then half the school went out and smoked in the parking lot.
Yep. And then they bring out Dazed and Confused in those movies. I'm like, I just want to hang out with those kind of people.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I know. I got to go back and watch that too. I haven't seen that in so long, and that's another one that's got to get on the list.
See?
So
Yeah.
now I've only ever watched it sober, Dazed and Confused.
Me too.
So that would be a different one to.
Yeah.
There's probably a whole bunch of movies that the list out that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch the Cheech and Chong movies high.
I still have to watch those sober. I can't believe I've never seen them all the way through.
Well, we started watching them again, and we watched the first, and the first one is great. And then we watched the second one, and the second one is not so great. It trails off pretty quickly, but we're going to still work our way through the rest of them because they're still
You
great.
started it, now you have to finish it.
Yeah. And again, sometimes even a bad movie can be a good movie, right? So you just kind of, you're like,
Take another toke and keep going.
yeah, it's kind of dumb, but I'm still enjoying it. So.
Maybe I'll pass out. Hold on, one more.
Right. Then in the 1960s, along came the term hippie lettuce. So, yeah, have you heard that?
No.
Oh,
That's crazy because
I have.
my late, she said the same thing. She'd never heard that. I'm like, you've been smoking weed for 25. How have you never heard that? I've heard that.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Was that used at like Woodstock or something? Because
I don't know where it started. I think it was, again, authorities talking about, only the hippies, used kind of a thing. So,
stereotyping. Nice
Yeah.
guys.
yeah. But yeah, it's weird that, yeah. And then we went from there we went to just good old grass. In the 60s and the 70s, that's when grass came into, and apparently it was because the weed was so bad, it was just being compared to grass clippings.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's where that came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like they're ever trying to hide it, give it a new name so that they could talk about it. This was my thought.
There's probably some of both.
but
Maybe, yeah.
that is just crappy.
Yeah.
Just a crappy time frame for marijuana. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
So and then we obviously we have the more recent terms that we've been our rappers have given us, like chronic and cabbage. And so Snoop, I think Snoop said that chronic came from, he misunderstood the word hydroponic or something like that. It was in reference to hydroponic and it came out chronic and it just stuck.
Oh,
so
Okay.
so that is that recent, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Notorious B.I.G. brought cabbage. He talked about cabbage all the time in his songs. So that's kind of where that one came from. So
That one took me a minute. I was
yeah.
like, why are we? But then there's that song that came out a couple years ago about he was talking about broccoli, and I was like, and then I thought I was like, oh,
Yeah. And I've seen the broccoli emoji used in place of weed emojis too on social media. So seems to be the cheat code now is broccoli.
I get, yeah. How can I talk about it without getting in trouble or
yeah.
Right.
It is also another word to rhyme with, so it just opens their vocabulary.
that's true.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now let's talk about the method, the smoking method, and what they're all called, because there's a bunch of names and I don't know, what the difference between all of them is. You got a joint or a J, you got a blunt, you got a spliff, a doobie, which I heard comes from Scooby-Doo because Shaggy was such a stoner. That's where doobie came from. I don't know if that's true. And then I've said a fatty, when you smoke a fatty. And then one that wasn't on the list, but I know I have heard people use is calling it an L. And have you ever heard that?
No.
Okay. And I have no idea. I didn't see it on any of the lists. I didn't see
I've never heard L.
Yeah, I know I've heard it called an L before. I don't remember where, rap song or something, but
Maybe.
So
yeah.
Anyway.
Again, that's probably newer lingo too.
Yeah.
Probably trying to make it, in the words of Mean Girls, they're trying to make it fetch, but it's not working. So
nice reference.
Fetch.
Yes. So a joint, obviously, is just a regular roll up paper. I mean, to the point where people have made joints out of the sheets in the back of the Bible. You know how every hotel room has those Bibles?
Yeah.
Of course, of the nightstands. When you don't have supplies, you make a Bible J. It's really what. Yeah.
Ooh, that one would be interesting. That's just
we
funny.
all think we're gonna go to hell, but
right.
It's just a tree. So but yeah, usually it's just like a paper wrapped with or without a filter, whatever you guys prefer. And then a blunt is just like, back in the day I used to use Swisher Sweets. Some people will take Black and Milds and they'll take out all the tobacco and they'll fill it with weed. But yeah, I mean, they now make blunt wraps that aren't any type of tobacco. Some are hemp, CBD, and they're all flavored. They come in the hemper boxes if you haven't gotten them.
Yeah. I think we've gotten some of those.
Yeah, if you haven't opened them, I got one that was like a watermelon flavor. So good.
How much weed do you pack into one of those things?
So then you hear the rap songs where they say 7 grams in a blunt. So you can take multiples and put them together, because in order to, so like if you ever look like at a Swisher Sweet, you have to break it and it's really, really stiff. So then you actually have to lick the whole thing to make it more malleable.
Yeah.
And you roll it, and then you have to like lick it, obviously, to seal it like a joint. So but yeah, it really depends. If your joint, for me, a joint is probably, I could probably get 2 gram. I'm sorry, I can get 2 joints out of a gram.
Okay.
I roll mine small because it's just me.
Yeah.
But I mean, depending on the person and the group, there's also been a term that we've used where you roll bats.
Bats?
So, so the way that the joint is rolled is like the end that you're about.
Uh-oh.
Skinny on the end is what I'm guessing. Oh no.
But cones do that too. So
we lost you for a long time
for a minute.
You were explaining the bat.
Yes. So
and then froze.
is literally just like the shape of a bat. So like the tip where you light it is larger than the tip that you inhale out of.
Oh, okay. I got you.
A bat. Cones kind of look like that too, but people can get real crazy with it. I mean, I've seen a guy, he's literally made like people's names out of joints and it's all filled with weed.
Oh.
So and like images too, like different, like I can't even think of one at the moment, but like there was one I think we tried to make. I tried to get together with him to make like a Playboy one, like a Playboy bunny head. Like literally, it's all just made out of papers. So like wrapping joint papers makes it into this piece, and then you fill it with weed, and then you inhale it. So I mean, the joints can come in all different shapes and sizes these days.
I can't even imagine.
That's crazy.
I gotta show it. I gotta send it to you guys. It's really cool.
That's great.
It does seem really neat.
Yeah.
Like what's that when you put the glue on the paper and to make
Paper
a
mache.
paper mache? So, so it's like a paper mache rabbit.
Yeah.
And then fill it with wheat. Wow.
It's very cool. Super cool. And then spliff is literally half weed, half tobacco.
Oh.
Okay.
And why?
Some people prefer. It's all like preference. I remember when I was younger, I had a friend who would smoke weed and then they would smoke a cigarette after, and I think it's the nicotine in the menthol that cigarette that actually makes for higher head effects.
Oh,
so just give you a higher high.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like the opposite, that you pack it with tobacco to make it not as potent.
No.
But okay.
But I do also have I had an experience with a girl smoking out of a bong, but instead of putting just weed in the bowl, it was also tobacco. They call those moles.
Moles. Okay. See, words that weren't on the list. I like it. We're finding
gems.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. It's definitely not my thing. But it is a thing. People do that.
Sure.
Sure. What was next on that list?
Well, that was really kind of it. Like I said, then, they talked about fatties and doobies, but those are kind of variations of, slang for, a fatty is a blunt and
a blunt is just really bigger.
No, well, it can be, but it's just the different paper size. It's the different paper style. So it's instead of it being just a regular like khaki colored paper, or it's actually like the literal, it almost looks like cigar paper. Like it looks like a cigar on the outside, but it's filled with weed. It can be that large, but it can also be smaller. There's also joints nowadays where they take like a concentrate and they roll the joint in it after it's been rolled, and then they roll it in the keef, so they have that on the outside. And that just gives you an even higher high. They're coming up with like crazy types of joints, but that's also a form of a joint as well.
Sure. And you mentioned keef last time we talked, and what does that mean? What is keef?
Keef is going to be like also people call it dust.
Okay.
It's going to be the trichomes, or like like the dust of the plant. So like when you grind it in your grinder to make it the product to put inside a joint, I'm like, how do you I'm like losing my words. So you grind it in a grinder, and there is a second portion. If you have a good grinder, there's a second portion of your grinder that has a screen. So this screen collects all of this stuff called keef, and it's literally just what we call the crystals or the trichomes from the plant that are too thin or too small, and then that's what people dust on it, and it's delicious.
See, what you're saying is you don't want to throw that away. Like when you're done grinding, you don't want to be, we'll just, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. Also, there's another joint that we used to do. We call this, like, I would say it would be like my balling on a budget times, when you smoke a joint all the way down to the very end to where it doesn't fit in your fingers anymore. They call it a roach.
Yeah.
And then we put it in our little roach motel, which is literally just a container that contains all of these little roaches. And then when you get real desperate and you have like one nug or not even any like pliable weed to actually smoke, you go to your roach motel and then you unwrap them from their joint papers and you roll all those little joints together and you make a joint blunt, or you make a roach blunt or a roach J. And it's all that, it'll look kind of black, but it's like all of the tar that was like literally burnt from the flower. And that's like what's left. It's all super sticky. And it's supposed to be like your last resort J.
Is the flavor pretty shitty on that?
It depends.
Okay. I mean, imagine it's got its taste a little burnt.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where Roach Motel came from, is you don't throw away those roaches, you save them.
Yeah, that and the nasty traps you catch roaches with.
Well, yeah.
We're probably going to get sued for
yes.
mentioning them. You know that Josh Potter called his podcast the Roach Motel,
Yes.
and they came after him for it. So we'll probably get in trouble for even saying it. But
Oh,
Yes.
Lord.
Let's hope so.
oh,
Do we know why they're called J's or joint?
that's a good question. I don't know if that was.
I've never actually heard like the physical definition or like the
Okay.
What do you call that? Like the origin. So
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's been calling it a joint forever, but
yeah, that's a great question. Hey, any followers out there, comment
Yes.
with your ideas.
Right.
let us know how it got to be a joint or why it called it. I'm sure it's
Fool us for once. No.
Yeah. There has to be somebody out there who knows.
Absolutely. Yes.
Speaking of which, somebody out there who knows, I did see on this list 420. We talked about that on a previous episode. 420 did come from some high school kids, that it was their code word for when they were going to go. But it was something about their plan to find a cannabis plant that some grower had given them a treasure map for or something. So like in the 70s. Yeah, some weird. So, but that was their code, and it just kind of spread from there apparently. So.
Oh, okay. Hey,
So,
everybody has their own origin stories.
and I found it on the internet, so you know it's true.
Mm.
Who doesn't like a treasure map, though?
I would love to find a treasure map.
Right? Wow, you got pretty
Just think
excited
about
there.
that National Treasure movie. Yes,
Yeah.
count me in.
Well, did you ever
Yes.
get that one old dude like buried a bunch of treasure and then left all the clues, and it was like a real life treasure chest.
Know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more like the Goonies that found a treasure map. That's what I want.
Give me truffle shuffle.
Hey, you guys.
Baby. Woo. Yes, hands down.
Now
that would be another good movie to watch high.
any comedy is good to watch.
That would be here. I'm just in my head, all these movies.
Yeah. If it's funny, watch it high. It's funnier.
Yep.
Yes. I would like to watch Tommy sometime high with you guys.
Tommy Boy?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
The Who rock opera Tommy movie. Have you ever seen it? Oh,
No. No.
it's pretty psychedelic to begin with.
What is this called?
It's called Tommy.
Tommy. Okay.
It's a movie directed by Ken Russell, but it's from the Who's album rock opera Tommy. They made into a movie, which is the story of the pinball wizard guy, but it's the movie itself is a rock opera, and it's pretty psychedelic.
Okay.
We need to eat mushrooms then.
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe you advancers probably, but
Okay.
I smoked a joint last Monday night, and I don't smoke a lot of joints, and normally I'll just use the pen or have an edible or whatever, but smoked a joint last Monday, and I had some psychedelic effects to it. So like I was seeing lights and flashes when my eyes were closed. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Kaleidoscope kind?
I don't know. It's gold kind, that brand, like a pineapple phantom or something like that.
Is it a sativa?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't really do anything with indicas.
You should check. I hate to drop names here, but try Leafly and see if you can put that actual strain in their inventory.
Oh yeah.
Cross with exactly, and that should be able to give you where it came from. Like, because some of them will have more of those psychedelic type feelings because they're such high sativas.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely do that. And feel free to drop Leafly's name. We started following them, and I know we talked about them on another episode. They're a good form of education when we don't have the answers. I mean, we're the better form of education, but we don't know everything. So sometimes Leafly will know.
I do.
Well, we don't for sure. That's why we're here.
I just made oatmeal cookies the other day, and I had half of the cookie, and it was 35 milligrams for the whole cookie, and I had half, and then we went to the beach, and every Friday out in Waikiki they have a fireworks show, so we're out there, and the fireworks were going off, and I was just like, I was tripping. I mean, it's the best way ever, but I was just like, wow, I'm so glad I'm high for this. Like it was a great show. It was beautiful, but it was like, even like edibles for me sometimes give you that psychedelic feeling.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I remember my first time seeing a fireworks show high, and it was the same thing. Like, I've never been a fireworks guy, but that year I was like, I love them. Oh, this is why people like this.
Oh.
Yeah, it was great. Makes everything better.
Well, it does, but I guess for the psychedelic thing, so that's not every time. Is there a certain mood that you have to be in that it hits you that way?
It's kind of like shrooms. Like, if you're not in the right state of mind and you're not in your safe place, it could react in a whole different ways. Emotionally, you have to be prepared, because I've heard people have like hysterical cry sessions. So I feel like weed can do the same thing, just not as strong.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I would agree with that. Yeah. It definitely, your mood definitely does come into play. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine, yeah.
But
the psychedelic part, I didn't never associated with pot.
Let's talk about hash a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Because
she perked up.
Because I'm not exactly sure what it is. I see they same thing with keef. With hash, they'll roll like joints within hash.
Right. So hash is more of like a tar consistency, depending on how they make it. The only hash I've ever had was a freshwater pressed hash, and it literally looks like a little square of tar. Okay. And I've put it in a bubbler, or like a bong, but it's like a small, it's like a little bubbler, and it literally, I mean, people have even put it in like their hookah contraptions.
Yeah, by the way, you got to be careful with the word bubbler in Wisconsin, because that's a water fountain here.
Really?
Yeah.
Like in school.
Yeah, they're called bubblers.
We're going to a bubbler.
And I think it's only Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah, I've never heard that. So.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, when she said bubbler, I'm like, wait, do you hold it in front of the water? What are you doing?
See, good clarification. Yeah. No, so like, think of like the little similar to like the volcano vape. Yes, the volcano.
From our friends at Hemper.
Yes.
Thank you, Hemper.
So you just literally, instead of like taking big rips, it's like you kind of just sit there and you like sip on it, but it ambers the whole time, so it's hot, and it's like, it takes, you don't even need a lot. I think I got one square, which was like it was a full gram, and that thing lasted me like 2 months.
Oh wow, okay. And what is it in comparison to marijuana? Is it a plant? Is it part of the plant?
Yeah, it's a full extraction plant. So it's like you're pressing the whole plant. That's why it looks like a black tarish, greenish tarish color, almost golden sometimes. It really depends on the what they're using. In this case, it was fresh water. It's like a fresh water that they learned from like India is how they made it. And but it's interesting. It's an interesting consistency, but it's very powerful. It's a very concentrated amount. So
Okay.
yeah.
In growing up, it always heard like, there was pot and then, but hash was a step, like another step up. And I don't know why that not as popular, but it's probably not as popular because it's not as, it's weird. Like a tar.
Yep.
Yeah. So
but that's, I mean, you could go into Amsterdam and you get their hashish brownies.
yeah.
It's the same thing, which is why, like, now I remember watching movies and I'm like, why are you getting so messed up off of a brownie that has a little bit of weed in it? And then I thought about like hash brownie, and I'm like, oh, okay. So like you're taking in 3 or 4 times more than you would smoking a joint.
Wow. Okay. Because I know I have a joint at home that is rolled in hash. So what you're telling me is I need to be careful with that. Probably for somebody who uses that my consumption, I probably don't want to smoke the whole thing in one night.
Yeah, if it's a so the thing is the if you got that from like a dispensary, and it's a recreational dispensary, a lot of the hash that they make is made with their trimmings. So the trimmings don't always have the highest potencies, or they mix them, so then it changes the potencies. But it's still it's a powerful component mixed with actual weed. So you'll enjoy it. Definitely don't smoke it by yourself, because it's sad to see it go to waste. I've had one where I've not been able to finish it, and I can't. It just sits there and it gets gross. And I'm like, so you and your lady enjoy that with a couple friends. It'll be good.
So that's
so you can't stop the.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's another question. If you light a joint and you only smoke half of it, how long can you let that thing sit before you?
I mean, I've done a couple days, but I don't know if either one of you have ever been a smoker, but if you've ever lit a cigarette, okay. So like lighting a cigarette and relighting it, it tastes like just like a burnt cigarette.
Yeah.
It does not taste good. Same thing with weed. There is one technique I learned to kind of elongate its freshness, is like when you go and you have your joint and it's lit and you want to put it out, pop the cherry out, make sure, it's stopped burning. And then instead of just putting it away, you actually blow air out of the joint, and you'll see excess smoke that's trapped in the rest of the joint that's left. And that'll help to kind of keep its freshness just a little longer. But keep it separated from your other weed, because that smell kind of like sits. It's like putting an old open beer with the rest of your beers.
Sure.
It makes it smell like the rest of it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
It does. Yeah. But in that scenario, does a potency less? So you just smoke it, it tastes like not as good,
exactly,
but it's still the same effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just got to muscle through.
Yeah.
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 It's like if you can get past the taste, it'll be fine.
Well, yeah, and Leah and I will smoke a half a joint one night and then finish the rest the next night.
Sure.
That's.
But I guess kind of the question is, so what if it's in the next week?
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah. Oh, it's never left.
I try and keep them in concealed containers, because either way, because it's an open joint, it will go stale. So it's not stale, but it's just like it dries it out.
Sure.
So it makes it even worse. And then you cough harder, and it's just not as enjoyable. Personally, a fresh joint is the best. But
sure.
If you're sitting here with a couple halfies, then hey.
Yeah, you do what you have to do, right?
Exactly. You do what you gotta do.
So do you have
I haven't gone to the Roche Motel quite yet.
Not yet. No. Do you have a term? Because Leah accused me of this the other night, and I don't remember the term she used, but I got a little too sloppy with the joint, got a little too much moisture, What?
Bogart.
No. That's when you steal something. That's when you steal. Is there a term for getting the too wet?
Yes, I've heard this.
Oh, please don't hate me.
No.
Me and my friends call it gorilla lipping.
I think that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
not what
can't help it if we have large lips, and when we go and we get excited, you're lucky that it's moist, because by the time the joint's done, my lip is stuck here on my gums because I have cotton mouth. Like,
That's-
come on.
That's true. I said to her, I'm like, we make out all the time. Why do you care? She said, well, I'm just telling you in case we're in a circle.
Well, if that's
people.
the case, give me my own crutch, please.
Yeah.
I don't
Relax.
Yeah, I'll smoke my own.
I that's not the term I don't know. And it could be a weird Wisconsin term too, but I remember somebody yelling
Bogart?
at somebody in a car by doing that, you
Oh.
know, with
Mhm.
Yeah.
putting too much in your making it. Yeah. It doesn't matter because I can't remember.
But I'm like you. I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I want to,
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, just tonight, I had to celebrate because I had to wait. Like, it's been a week because I had to take a drug test at work today. So then when I got home from work, the first thing I did was light up the joint. Sorry, boss.
Sorry, not sorry. We're legalize that.
Yeah. So, and it was an exciting moment. And I gorilla lipped that bad
You-
boy.
I was gonna say you really gorilla lip that
And
one.
I don't care.
Oh,
I feel like
You
it's
did it a couple of times.
I feel like it's probably more a problem too when you don't have a filter on it. When you got a filter, who cares?
yeah. Mhm.
But
I mean, you could always use an outside crutch too as your own. Have you ever taken a business card and ripped it in half and rolled it up and made your own? That's what we call a crutch. It's the same thing, but it's an outside filter.
I
So-
got you. Okay. All right. I'll
Oh,
tell her. I'll tell her that next time she's whining to it.
See, and you talk about filters on these, and I'm like, I don't remember anybody ever having a filter for a joint when I was in high school.
No. But see, that's when the crutches came into play for me, because filters weren't in when I first started smoking weed.
Right.
And so we used crutches. So when it got down to the point where it was hard to hold, you would put that tiny little end in the tip of the the business card.
Mm,
And you would use that to keep the joint going as long as you can.
okay.
It's like a little-
Every toke is valuable.
Yeah.
Got to get every last one.
Yep.
Have you seen the movie I Love You, Alice B. Tokeless?
What?
You got to check that movie out too. Have you ever heard of
My list.
Have you heard of the Alice B. Tokeless cookbook?
Alice B. Tokeless.
This is like 60s.
This
is
earlier than
60s.
that, I think.
Yeah, this is 60s stuff.
The movie, yeah.
So-
Alice B. Tokeless that's the name of the woman who wrote the cookbook,
She was
and
a
it's
writer,
like the first cookbook that ever had a recipe for pot brownies in it.
Oh, okay.
But they made a movie called I Love You, Alice B. Tokeless, and there's pot brownies are involved in the movie. So
Oh, okay.
Peter Sellers is in it. It's you know who Peter Sellers is, correct? Or no?
I need to see a face. Sorry, I'm horrible with some actors' names.
I just yelled at him before we went on because he didn't know who Peter Sellers was.
and she's 20 years younger than me. So
Yeah, but I'm not gonna yell at her. I like her.
Totally fine, because I'm a big movie and TV buff. So if I don't know, then we've got a problem.
He was Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah, I never watched those.
Okay.
Sorry.
Dr. Strangelove.
Nope. Yep. No, he doesn't look familiar. Sorry. I just
I'm out-
looked him up, and I honestly I can't.
I'm
tell.
outnumbered tonight. Wow. Okay.
all right. Before we end this, do you have any words for us that you're using that we should know? What are the cool kids calling,
No, I mean, I remember when we were in before I even hit high school, my sister was on the phone with one of her friends, and my mom was sorry, Mom, she was the eavesdropping type. So she would pick up the receiver on the other side of the house. She would listen, and her friend was like, "So are you gonna come pick me up so we can burn before school?" I think burn has been one of the biggest slangs for me growing up and being in the industry. But no, I think that's the only one we didn't really go over. So
Nice.
To burn means let's go smoke some weed. So
Sure. Oh, and the big new one that I keep hearing all the time, and I don't know if this is something new or if it's been around for a long time, is crossfaded. Or we're talking
Yes.
about being high and drunk at the same time.
Oh,
Is that a newer term?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's been around. Okay.
Yeah, I remember we went to a party. Where did we go? We were somewhere and we were sitting in a parking lot. My sister and them were drinking Hypnotic. Uh-huh. Yeah, blue Gatorade. And I thought
Yep.
it was so pretty and it tasted so yummy. I took a couple sips and then one of her friends told me before she lit up a joint, she's like, you need to be careful. You don't want to get cross-faded because then you puke.
Hmm.
It's like, I don't want it then. Don't want it. And ever since then, I always smoke before I drink, and I never smoke after I start drinking because it's just I'm not a big one for throwing up in general. So
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna avoid
I'm
it.
with ya.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be like, yeah, let me smoke first, and then I'll enjoy it. But I do. I get the cross-faded anyway. I
Sure.
get high, and then I get a little, I get a little tipsy, and it's nice.
Yeah.
But
so is that? I think I heard it the first time when we were down at Dave Matthews with my daughter.
Oh.
And she said something like, "Oh yeah, we do that before we go out to the clubs." And I thought you said, "Yeah, I know what you mean," but I'd never heard the term before.
Oh, I had heard it. Yeah, but I thought it was something recent. That's all I meant.
Sure.
Is I thought.
But is that what it was? That what she said that night?
I
Was
think so, yeah.
crossfaded with
Yeah.
smoke and then go out to the club and drink. And I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, here's my 19-year-old daughter teaching me stuff.
Those youngins, they teach you lots.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
That's what I'm thinking. There's a whole nother generation below all of us that probably has slang. They'd watch us and go, that's none of the words we use.
Yeah, probably. Now I feel real old.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I turned 50 in 3 days. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
what are the birthday celebrations?
we're headed down to my buddy's place. We got a local band, Nicholas Raymond. He's in the band Traveling Suitcase. He's been on the podcast. They're coming down to my buddy's place. They're going to play and we're going to hit the volcano, have some fun with the volcano. So
we're gonna,
fun.
yeah,
which is really neat. So we're saving that for the trip.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I feel really old. I'm struggling with 50. I've never struggled with one before, but
50 it's a big one.
yeah.
It's long past for me, so I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're the older one?
Way older.
No
Yeah.
way.
I know it doesn't look like it, does it?
How could pass for 30? Come on.
I love her. Her to death.
You love a liar.
I don't care. I don't care. Lie away.
If she had said 40, I'd have been like, oh, that's nice. But no, it's been a long time. Maybe if I dyed it all back to brown, then maybe I could pull off 30. But
No, gray is in. It's in.
Have
you not seen the girls dyeing their hair looking like Storm from X-Men?
I know. It's awesome.
It's
awesome.
true.
It's awesome.
I mean, I wanted to go there at one point, but no.
Oh, your hair's so pretty.
Blondes have more fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Your color is don't change it. Your color is beautiful.
It's staying natural.
Yes.
Yes. I guess I'm gonna have to send you some Pop-Tarts soon then. Hopefully
I will take that.
Out.
I would gladly eat your Pop-Tarts.
Perfect. Well,
I would love it.
I hope there's lots of treats and lots of smoking and lots of partying.
I think there will be.
Yes.
We're gonna party like it's 1999.
We're gonna party like we're 30.
Yes. We're gonna get crossfaded.
And then we're gonna feel like we're 80.
Get crossfaded.
And we will definitely get crossfaded.
And we'll go live a few times while we're crossfaded. So if you're hitting the Instagram on Friday night, well, it'd be Friday afternoon for you, but
before have to be like, I gotta catch up.
Before we go, how are the fires over there now? Is everything kind of contained or? Yeah,
so for the most part, everything has there's still a little bit going, but it is for the most part contained. The energy, it's just really heavy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about them because there was a lot of high winds that day. They actually sent all the kids home from school because of the high wind advisory, and those kids got trapped. So
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's really heavy. They're still, scanning through the rubble. I know. It's huge on my Instagram today that Joe Biden was here.
Oh, okay.
And he was actually doing a tour with his wife, and he spoke. And
Does Joe Biden know he was there? Sorry.
He had to
hit or miss, honestly.
yeah.
But,
We're not going there. We don't talk
yeah.
politics.
He waited till his vacation was done before he went, but that's a different story.
Why he is vacation?
I think more it was nice for it to be recognized, because it's been such a huge. I mean, we're up to 115 people that have been found. So it's nuts. And hearing the stories, they're all over YouTube, people telling their own stories about it, and
Sure.
people, sitting in the water for hours watching it. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Just watching their livelihood go away. That had to be horrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's really nice to see a bunch of the community come together. I mean, a couple of our friends who have boats, literally took their boats all the way to Maui from here with supplies on the boat. And,
Oh, wow.
They're looking for people to bring in like fresh produce and all the other things that they need now. But it's going to be a long haul of healing. So people are starting to get together for construction and rebuilds. Just kind of clearing out the areas.
Yeah.
So
anybody watching this, go donate if you can. I know there's spots to donate all over social media. Find the right one. Find a good one.
Find the right one, yeah. And not those scammers. Just find a good one.
A lot of those.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people use tragedy to do stuff like that, which is horrible.
I mean, the community itself has really come together. It was a little disorganized at the beginning, just because of the amount of like devastation and shock, but I think they're getting everything under control now, and they're just due process. You do have to wait before we decide what they're going to do with. I know they're trying to tell people don't sell land, and it's too early for that.
Crazy.
You still have to allow them to grieve, So.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I've heard, and then I didn't want to bring it up, but yes, I've heard many were contacting the people that were devastated. Sell me your land right away. And that's come on, just let people regroup and they will. It seems like a great community that will come back. Yeah. But
it's really sad. There's this one big banyan tree that was like a huge tourist attraction in Lahaina. And 3 days later, you still see them taking a lot of the water over there to water this banyan tree, because it still looks like it's alive. So they're trying to revive this tree.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just lots of prayers and good blessings towards them, and just hope that everybody can get back on their feet. But until then, the community will be here to cover and carry them. So,
well, you definitely got good vibe sending that way for sure.
Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely.
We're doing everything we possibly can from here. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah, sorry it happened.
Yeah, it sucks, but we're happy you're safe. That's
right.
Yes,
I know when I saw the news, I was instantly like, wow, is that like, and
well, you just hear Hawaii and you think, but
we do. Everybody thinks it's all encompassing in one island,
right?
There's a good amount of miles between us, but thank you for the thoughts.
And you've mentioned that too. You are, but you still, the initial thought is she all right? So
yeah. Of course. I mean, on top of that, the crazy winds, the power lines. I mean, and California just got hit with a tropical storm and an earthquake. It's like
double whammy.
Going on.
Yeah, I saw somebody say something about a hurricane. It's the next Ian Ziering movie. The hurricane.
Oh, too funny.
Somebody like that to make light of natural disasters.
Yeah. It's coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Ashley. We love it again. Another fun episode.
Yes. Go enjoy your birthday, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, you bet.
Absolutely.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for everything.